What's up, friends? It's your girl Khela here with another bullet journal video for you guys. Now, I know I missed March and I know I missed April, but if you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, you should follow me. It's at Khela Ariana. You'd know that the last 2 months have been a whirlwind of just school and work, and it's just had been insane because it is my last year at university. I'm actually done. From the moment I'm filming this, I've finished everything, and I actually just got the notification that I'm gonna graduate in June. But yeah, the last 2 months has been a lot, and April more so because it's my birthday month, but it was also the month of all of my exams, you know, the last set of exams that I was gonna do for my undergrad. And now all of that's done, so I can finally focus on creating and making videos. I'm actually gonna talk about all of these things to catch you up in another video, but here for this video, we're just gonna focus on setting up my juicy, very spicy bullet journal spread for May. I don't know why I had to think about that, but yeah, for this month I'm hoping to use watercolors, and so I can't wait to bring you guys along, and let's start. And I'm gonna do voiceovers and have some chill music, and you guys can kick back, plan with me, you know, set up with me, or you know, just watch. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so this is the voiceover, and I haven't done this in a while, so please bear with me. But I like to start off all of my monthly spreads with a title page. If you watch all of my previous bullet journal videos, which, you know, there will be links up above in the corner somewhere, if you're interested to look at them, I always start off my monthly spreads with a title page just to welcome the month in. And what I wanted to do for this month was I wanted to do something cool with the watercolors. So I'm laying down all of these washi tape, and I'm trying to form geometric shapes. And what I want to do is paint over the washi tape, and they're gonna kind of leave, obviously, like they're gonna paint over the shapes. And when I peel the washi tape off, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, it's gonna leave these like nice clean borders and lines. I thought this would be like a cool way to, I guess, show you different ways to use watercolors, because I feel like a lot of people get intimidated with just painting in general, and I just want to show you guys that there are ways to, you know, do fun stuff with it that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be like painting a still life painting of something. So this is just one of the ways, and I had a lot of fun with it. I really like how it came out, and I wanted to make sure that the color combinations that I was doing, they were kind of I guess they like blended into each other, more like transitionary colors rather than colors from the opposite side of the spectrum, because I don't want anything muddy. And you would see me as I'm going through, I'm dabbing the paper with a cloth towel, and that's because if I feel like too much water is pooling on the page, you can quickly just take, you know, a cloth towel, dab that away. You can take a piece of paper and do the same thing. Or if you want to like really lighten the colors, if you want to bring down the vibrancy of the colors that you have on the page, that's also one way to do it. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but yeah. And so what I'm doing here now is I'm taking my Zig brushable pen, ate my words, my Zig brushable pen in black. I have been really loving these brush pens over the Tombows, and I'm just taking my Pilot metallic paint pen and doing kind of like a drop shadow and adding some cute geometric shapes to kind of contrast against the pastel background. I really like how it turned out. I like the shine, I like the detailing. It also kind of looks a little retro. And now we're moving on to this next page. So this next page I actually prepped because I knew it was going to take a while. If you're wondering the, I guess, measurement of the cubes, I made sure that there were 4 dotted lines in between before the next, I guess, square is made, because the washi tapes I was using don't exactly fit in between the squares of the Leuchttrum grid. So I just made sure that it was like even in between. So there's approximately 4 lines in between each vertical tape and 4 lines in each horizontal tape. So that's how I ended up with all these very nice looking cubes. Or you don't really need to use washi tape, to be honest. You could probably freehand this and it's gonna look like nice and organic. And the same concept, you know, I'm making sure all the colors are transitionary, and I really want to avoid like muddying up any of the colors, and so that's what I'm doing right now. And that area that's kind of fully rectangular, it's going to be my notes area. I always kind of leave an area in my month at a glance where I could kind of write down things that are kind of ongoing, things I have to do for the month. And it's just nice because then if you don't really have a date for it, then it's easier to just be able to see it on the side without having to feel like you need to set it down into one of the days. So yeah, I am loving the peel porn right now because, man, doing this in real life was so satisfactory. Satisfactory. I don't think that's the word I wanted to use, but doing this was so satisfying, and now it's even more satisfying to watch it. Okay, so I actually accidentally forgot to film this part, but I just used the same Zig brushable pen, and I wrote down the days and also wrote down the numbers of the days of the month, and taking that same silver Pilot metallic pen and just adding detailing and drop shadows, doing those cute little geometric detailings. I really like the way this turned out. This was kind of more impromptu. This wasn't really planned, but now that I kind of see it after, you know, sitting on it for a little while and looking and working on my actual pages and writing down stuff that I'm, you know, need to be doing for the month, I just really like the detail that it's adding into it. Just like the, you know, it's small, it's not too much, but it's pretty great. So for this next page, this is actually going to be a tracker page for my workouts. I'm doing this thing which I kind of self-titled as 31 Days to Fit, where I work out or do some physical activity for each day of the month of May. And actually while I'm editing this, it's actually the 3rd of May, and I'm doing pretty well. I wanted to do kind of the same thing as I did before, where I used the washi tape to make grids and boxes, but what I wanted to do was, since I think the colors came out way lighter than I wanted them to, I wanted the boxes to pop up, so I added these drop shadows using the same Zig brushable pens. I also just like giving myself more room to use for, especially for like a workout tracker, because I like writing down details. Like it doesn't have to be like a full sentence or anything, but like, you know, numbers or metrics that matter to me, or there's something that I need to be keeping track of, like, you know, how many meters I swam that day, and maybe in the future that's, you know, something that I want to, you know, do better at and surpass. And so it's nice to be able to kind of look back at notes that I left for myself in the tracker, because it's one thing to be checking off the tracker, it's also another thing to be leaving something for yourself to improve on. And yeah, so just doing the same detailing with my Zig brushable pen and the metallic pen from Pilot. And in the bottom right here, I'm actually just going to write down my rules and kind of workout kind of guidelines. I have like a outline for my general workouts if I don't swim. So this next page is actually going to be just an artsy page. I wanted to give a little bit more separation from the setup pages of the month to my weekly pages. So I wanted to add this nice artsy page. I do incorporate a lot of these kind of like sketching, artsy, quote type motivational pages throughout the month. I just don't show them. But I wanted to show you guys, I guess, an example. So I just use my watercolors to put down like a very nice, you know, faded but still kind of cheery background with, you know, those nice colors blending into each other, and using my Brushable pens to write down, it's not necessarily a quote, but it's I guess it's just a phrase that I'm trying to live by at the moment as like a new graduate of you know, I just finished my undergrad, and I wanted to remind myself to allow myself to thrive. I think I'm so stressed out with like my next steps that I feel like I'm stunted. So I think this is just like a nice little page to remind myself, and I'm actually just taking that my gray Tombow and putting a silhouette of mountains, because if you look back at my old, not my old, but my setup video for 2019, I actually used mountains as my theme, and this is just an homage to that. Okay, so we are actually gonna be setting up one of my many watercolor weekly spreads. I wanted to do something that wasn't too structured, because I didn't really know how the watercolor was going to interact with the page before it, because the page right behind it, which was the artsy page, was still kind of like wet, and I didn't want to like poke holes into my Leuchttrum. So I decided to do kind of like a free form vertical weekly spread where there isn't necessarily like a set, I guess, area for each day. You'll see in a little bit how it's all gonna come out. I'm describing it as how it makes sense in my head. Obviously it's probably not the best description, but yeah. So as you can see here, I wrote down, you know, the markers for each day, and you can kind of get the idea that I have like, I can budget the space for each day depending on how busy the day is. So there's no like structure is what I mean. There's no, you know, fixed box for Monday. There's no area that's just dedicated for Tuesday. So it's all just kind of like under each letter, and I can kind of just you know, play it by ear as to how I list down my to-do list for each day. And I'm just taking that beautiful metallic pen and adding that same geometric detailing. What I'm about to do now is going to be slightly different, because I've been doing my calligraphy on BrushPens for, you know, the entirety of this video, but what I'm doing here is actually using a watercolor pen where there's actually a water bank built into the pen, and there's a brush at the end, and you can refill it, and you can basically kind of do some cool watercolor calligraphy, and that's what I'm doing right now. What I'm writing is, there is sunshine in my soul. I just wanted to put something nice and happy and something to go with the watercolor theme, and yeah, that's how it looks, and I really love it. I wish I could kind of like take this and turn it into a sticker or something, or a poster, but at least this is like a nice reminder for me that I can try out different mediums with calligraphy, and it turned out so nice. I'm just adding drop shadows with my Fudenosuke pen, calligraphy pen. I feel like with solid black drop shadows, my Fudenosuke is the best pen to do that with. It's nice and opaque, but it's also kind of precise enough to get to the very edge of each letter that I'm doing a drop shadow for. And so yeah, this is the end result, and I'm gonna give you guys an overview, but I'm gonna do a quick explanation at the very end of this video. Okay friends, and so that's pretty much it for my May setup. I know it's a little late, but I figured better late than never. I had a lot of fun doing this. I had intended on doing a watercolor like type spread for a while now, but I didn't think I was going to do it for May. I thought for May I was going to go for something a little like springy and sunnier, but actually here in Toronto it's been really rainy, and it's also expected to still rain for well into May and even snow, surprisingly enough, or maybe unsurprisingly enough. But yeah, so I decided to go for something that was not so much like May flowers type thing. I didn't want to do that. I figured everybody was going to do that. So, you know, if you were looking for that type of spread, then you can go check out other people's, you know, setup. Here, I just wanted to play with watercolor. I still wanted to bring, obviously, like some of that very transitioning into summer, springy vibes. So that's why I really wanted to kind of incorporate the beautiful, vibrant pastel colors that watercolors offer, and I really liked how I kind of incorporated the silver detailing, because everything is so geometric in the first few pages that I thought the little detailings could also be geometric and it could kind of tie in with into each other, and it kind of gives like a little bit of that like retro vibe with like the faded look of the watercolors. I don't know if I'm like making sense, but I really like it. I know it doesn't really translate well on camera, and so hopefully my close-ups can help you guys out with like seeing the beautiful silver detailing. And I just really love the way this turned out. Now you have to be very careful when you do watercolor on your Leuchttrum notebooks. I am fairly comfortable doing it straight on the page. Some people don't like doing that, so if you don't, you can just do it on a separate piece of paper and then paste it on the page if you like. But I really like the kind of like crinkly, worn out feeling and texture that using watercolors on these pages kind of brings about. I really like feeling it and touching it. It gives a little more, I guess, like story and texture to my bullet journal, and I just love, you know, like opening it one day, you know, somewhere down the future, and like just remembering the amount of work that went into doing all of these pages. Now I moved on to my 31 to fit tracker page. If you can't see down here, I wrote down the rules of my 31 to fit, which was doing one main meal a day, which is OMAD, drink 3 bottles of water, and working out every morning, which I don't know why I'm talking. I'm probably gonna incorporate this in the voiceover, but I like talking towards the end because, you know, it's fun. But I've been doing it in the latter half of April. I've been working out, doing all of this, and I thought maybe the best way to do it, to get myself into a routine, is by tracking it. And so here is my tracker. I really like giving myself a little more space for each day because I like writing notes for myself, because when I do go back, at least I know, you know, oh, on this day, like I was a little bit sore, so like what was different with what I did for my routine. And so I have that here, incorporated the watercolors, and I just decided to do like a more artsy page because I love doing those things. It also just gives like a little more transition into my weekly spreads. So obviously I'm a new graduate, so I think I've been spending so much of my time being stressed with like academics and work, and I haven't really been able to focus on myself. And so I wrote this little quote, or I guess it's just like a saying: time to thrive. I think it's time, now that I'm out of school, it's time for me to, I guess, flourish. You know, it's not just about survival anymore, because that's what school felt like to me. It always felt like I was in survival mode. So now I can finally thrive. I can, you know, rest easy. Obviously, you know, life is like, there is a lot of aspects in life that you do need to just keep surviving, and you keep yourself in survival mode, but I think it's also important to thrive. I think you learn a lot about yourself if you allow yourself to grow. So yeah, I really liked this one, and I don't know if you can see it, but I actually drew little mountains, because if you go back to my first setup video for this year, I actually put mountain. Actually, I'm gonna flip to that page right now, and it was also a watercolor page, funny enough. I made mountains my kind of theme for like that first you know, setup portion of the year, because I don't know, like, I think I was talking about in this video when I was setting these pages up, that this year is like a very big year for me. It's a year of transition, and I know there's going to be a lot of obstacles, and I just need to remind myself that it's kind of going to be like climbing a mountain, where it'll feel unsurmountable at first, but I will get to the top eventually if I just keep working at it. And so that's why I incorporated that cute little mountain here. The camera's probably not picking it up very, very well, but it's just right here. I used a light gray pen to make that very soft silhouette within the circle. And this is just my weekly spread. I thought it was way too plain when I just did the box, so I put in watercolor calligraphy, there is sunshine in my soul. Again, I just want it to be like really happy. It's a very nice and happy transition in my life. There's a lot of things going on and a lot of opportunities just opening up. So I just want to kind of, I guess, exude what I'm feeling right now on my weekly page. I wanted it to be a little more less structured for the first week of May, so that's why I made this kind of like open, more vertical type of style of a weekly spread, so I can go down each way, and I can kind of just, I guess, budget the space for each one depending on how busy each day is. And I gave myself like a little note thing here because I do have a bunch of events coming up for the following week. And so this is, oh yeah, and I put in the same silver detailing right there. And so yeah, I really like the way this turned out. I also kind of played around with the watercolors, having one page be a different color and the other page another color. And so this is how it turned out. I seriously love how this turned out. So I'm probably gonna like duplicate this in the future with like other phrases and quotes, you know, in maybe future spreads, or just like maybe other artwork that I might be doing in the future. And so yeah, so that is for May, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for, if you got this far, honestly, thank you so much for staying around. And if you want to see more from me, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give that like button a little high five. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys have a wonderful start to May. You know, it's crazy. We're almost halfway through the year. And so I'm gonna end it off here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.